there and welcome to my November favourites. I am so excited about Christmas. I just can't wait. It's right around the corner. It was snowing this morning in Manchester. Just so excited. I cannot wait. It's fecking raining outside right now. I'm fecking freezing, but I'm loving every single second of it. Isn't it funny? Everyone moans like, oh my gosh, it's raining. It's disgusting outside. But don't we all just love being cozy and warm inside and hearing the rain kind of lashing our windows outside? Is that not just what life is all about? I love it. I live for those cozy days when you're just housebound and you can just watch like terrible TV, Real Housewives series. I'm looking at you. And of course, RuPaul's Drag Race, which isn't terrible. I just fecking love it. And I feel like Andreas has been watching a little bit of RuPaul's Drag Race recently because he put on his little like princess shoes and Alex's beads and he's like sashaying around saying, I'm sashaying away, I'm sashaying away. Mummy, look at me, sashaying away. I'm looking at him with so much pride. I'm thinking, oh, that's my boy. So happy about that. Anyway, moving on to the favourites. Let's do this. Okay, so my first favourite is by Garnier. This is definitely not a new product to me. I've been using this for years at this point. It's their Skin Active BB cream and this is the one specifically for oily to... Oh, just for oily skin. It's that my spots are really kind of clearing up. I have been using this like so much. And it's not to say that this has a light coverage. It's definitely not. It's a very beautiful medium coverage. I've got it on today because I really wanted you to see it kind of on my face as opposed to just kind of telling you about it. You can definitely still see my little kind of acne marks, you know, underneath my foundation. But what I love about this is that it has a brilliant lasting power. It gives a beautiful kind of natural, my skin but better kind of look to it. It's just a really kind of easy product to use. You can use your fingers to kind of blend it in, a sponge, your dildo, whatever you have to hand, you know, it just works well with anything. If you've not tried this, I would definitely recommend it. I have tried the one for normal to dry skin and I did not like that at all. It was a completely different formula, which isn't surprising, of course. But yeah, if you've got oily skin, I would definitely recommend you give this one a go. I just love it. It's one of my favourites. I've gone through so many bottles of it and I can see my future will be filled of purchases of this. Okay, so next we have a blush by Colourpop and this is in the shade Holiday. It's one of their Super Shock cheeks and it's got hair. What? Excuse me, hair, you're completely embarrassing me right now. I mean, I think it's an eyebrow hair or maybe an eyelash. How did it get in there? What's its story? I mean, really? But anyway, it's gone now. Don't worry. But this is a beautiful kind of corally shade, which I love. Again, I've got it on the apples of my cheeks, but because I applied a highlight on top, which I'm going to be talking about in a minute, I feel like it's probably, I don't know, you can't really see the blush too well, but I love the texture of this. It's not a powder and it's not your typical kind of cream. It's kind of... It feels like putty. It's beautiful. This is what it looks like on my finger. And if I do a little swatch-a-roo on my skin, it's just the most beautiful kind of peachy, corally shade. Makes your cheeks kind of glow with healthiness. Imagine, right, you've just had the best boning of your life and your cheeks are just kind of glowing. That's what it does to you. I mean, it's just really fecking good. And I just kind of apply it with my finger, tap, 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 and then I'll either kind of blend it out with a sponge or I'll just kind of blend it out with, you know, the warmth of my finger. My fingers aren't warm right now, but anyway, that's what I tend to do. I wish that Colourpop was more affordable and accessible to get in the UK because I would definitely be investing in more of these kind of blushes. But this one is perfect, the shade perfect, so I'm really glad that I've got this one. And I think that kind of corally peachy blushes just look super flattering on fair skin. So yeah, I definitely recommend this. It's a beautiful, and I apologise if you're in the UK and I know that Colourpop isn't that accessible, so I do really apologise about that. Okay, so next we have two liquid lipsticks. These are two of the mini Jeffree Star nudes that I recently swatched. The first one that I love is Skin Tight, which is the lighter colour shade. I've got it on right now, and this to me is perfect. If I could have created like a liquid lipstick shade, this would be exactly what I would create. It's beautiful, it's a very light shade, but the formula is good enough that you only need one layer to get like a full opacity, full coverage on the lips. So I love that. I always struggle with light shades because I just feel like they can be a bit patchy and a bit difficult, you know, a bit high maintenance. They're streaky as feck, and that does my head in. But this one is really, really good. The second shade that I loved is Leo. It's a beautiful kind of warm toned brown. And we've got Leo on the top, and then we've got Skin Tight down below. They're very different, but I just absolutely love them both. Leo is a beautiful kind of grungy brown. Yes, please. Yes, please. Love it. Okay, so next is a product that is so hyped up here on YouTube. I was kind of sold the 50 millionth time I heard somebody raving about it. So this is the Bobbi Brown vitamin enriched face base, and I got a little kind of travel size. I know that a lot of people think that travel sizes aren't really good value, and I completely get that, but I think that if you're kind of trying out a product, for me it's easier for me to kind of come to terms with thinking, well, I only spent £10 on it and I didn't like it, as opposed to spending like, say, £45 on the full size and then not liking it. Do you know what I mean? For me, I'd rather just have the peace of mind that I've not spent much money on it if I didn't like it. However, I fecking love this. It's beautiful. It's got the most gorgeous, perfect, fresh, citrusy kind of scent to it. It's not overpowering and it's not artificial. It just smells like creamy lemon mousse. Feels beautiful going on. It's kind of gel-like, it's hydrating, it's not sticky, it's not kind of emollient. It just feels perfect going on. It's beautiful underneath foundation. It doesn't do anything to kind of you know, fill in pores or fine lines, but I do feel like my foundation has just been kind of sitting really comfortably on top of this, like for the past week since I've been using it. So I feel like I'm definitely going to be bankrupting myself in the near future with shelling out for a full size, but I have no regrets. Beautiful moisturizer, and I would wear it kind of underneath foundation as a primer, or I would just wear it as my kind of daily moisturizer. This is one that I can see I'm just going to be having a love affair with for years to come. Okay, so next we have another product that I did a first impression on maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's by Primark and it's their Pure Glow highlighter. It cost £3, which is brilliant, and this is in the shade Brunch Club. It's a beautiful kind of light champagne kind of tone. I've done a little swatch on my finger. It's got the most beautiful kind of wet look sheeny formula, and yeah, let me just do a little swatch. It's just sensational. This is a highlight that I've literally worn pretty much every single day since doing the first impression. The only thing that I will say with this kind of formula, it's fecking awful with a brush. Like, it's atrociously bad if you go in with your highlight brush and put it on. For some reason, the actual kind of powder seems to be so kind of firmly pressed in. It doesn't really pick up with a brush. So I always just use my finger, and then I just kind of, I'll just pop a little bit on. I'll just kind of tap it on, you know, with my finger and just kind of blend it out. That to me seems to be the best way to kind of apply this. Oh my gosh, I just love it. It's beautiful. I definitely recommend, if you have a Primark near you, go out and get that mother fecker. But just make sure you use your finger, because you're going to be really disappointed if you try and use a brush with it. Okay, and another highlight that I've got is one that I only just tried a couple of days ago, but it's kind of just taken my heart right now. This is, and also I do feel like I'm a little bit kind of, I don't know, blown away by the fact that this is a loose powder highlight. I did do a first impression on this. This is by Makeup Revolution, and it's the Pearl Lights Loose Highlighting Powder, and it's in the shade Peach Champagne. It is just a bit of a kind of a revolution to me. It's a loose powder. Let me just do a little swatcheroo so that you can see it, because I could sit here and talk about it all day, but I feel like you need to see it. So I'm just pouring a little Oh, I'm knocking my camera. I've just poured a little bit in the lid, and now there it is. Look at that on my finger. Look at that on my finger. I mean, I feel like aliens in space could probably see my finger just like glowing. I'm going to put it here, okay? And if I just blend it in, look at this. I mean, can you see that? It's just the most beautiful kind of icy pink shade. And the reason why I have been... Oh, by the way, I've got it on as well. I did put the Primark one over that one. So this is kind of how it looks. It's just gorgeous. But the main reason why I love this is that it's so forgiving on my textured skin. It's not one of those highlighters that really accentuates pores or fine lines. It just seems to sit on your skin really beautifully. And I don't know if that's because it's a loose powder or because maybe it's just a more kind of subtle you know, subtle kind of highlight. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, and I would definitely recommend this, particularly if you've got more mature skin. I think that it's one that you could really love, and it would just look so complimentary on you. I do also have it kind of slathered upon my decolletage decoration, I don't know, but it's slathered all over my chest as well right now, which I am living for right now. Just to quickly mention my, well, other than the Magic palette by Gervais Place, which is my favourite kind of colourful, playful palette, this, the Ultimate Basics by Urban, I forgot the name then, I mean really, I feel like a mum who has just kind of forgotten the name of her child. But this is the Ultimate Basics by Urban Decay. It's been out for ages, I'm sure that you've seen it by now. This is just my favourite palette. In a lot of my videos, when I get compliments on my eye look, the majority of the time I will be wearing this palette. I think that the formula of the eyeshadows is just so good. It's so easy to work with. I know everyone raves about the Modern Renaissance by ABH, and for good reason. I also love that palette, but I feel like the formula of these eyeshadows is just as good, and I don't feel like this palette ever really got any kind of attention or hype. I will say that probably, like, when you look at the shades, you might be thinking, well, it doesn't look that versatile. They all look a little bit boring, a little bit muted. But believe me, you can get loads of different looks with this. You can go for like, you know, a browny kind of rusty red, smoky eye. You've got like a navy blue. You've got a beautiful kind of plummy shade. You've got different kind of, what are these, like mauvey like kind of shades, plummy mauvey shades. It's just, I love it. I love this palette. It's one that I use every single day. I don't know how I've not hit pan on this. I'm not a fan of like grungy looks. This is the palette that you need to have. It's the perfect kind of grungy lovers palette. All of the shades are mattes, even though this one here does look a little bit kind of satiny. I love the packaging. It's just, that's my all-time bae. I mean, we're in a long-term committed relationship. Okay, and just to finish off, I have a little bit of like just a random bit of a strange product, but it's deodorant. I know, you're thinking what? And this is a men's deodorant. So I'm a huge fan of like stick deodorant because I have a bit of a problem with sweating. I can tell you because you're friends, but I'm very sweaty. I'm a sweaty Betty. I just sweat all the fucking time. If I'm hot, if I'm cold, if I'm excited, if I'm happy, if I'm sad, if I'm frustrated, she's sweating. I mean, really, it's a terrible affliction. So I use like stick cream deodorants, and I find that Mitchum is like the best deodorant. I still manage to sweat my way through it, but it's the one that I feel most comfortable with using because out of all the deodorants that I've used, it's most reliable. But this is the men's version, and I've only just started buying the men's version. But this is the reason why, right? You know, like sometimes with a man, like, or your man, I should say, with Honeys, he'll lift up his arm and I'll get that, you know, whiff of like manly, it's like pheromone, it's like his deodorant, and it just smells delicious. And but anyway, one day I was in Tesco and I was looking for deodorant. I couldn't find the one that I usually get in the ladies, so I just figured, well, why not try the men's? This smells beautiful. I literally walk about all day smelling like man, and I love it. Like, I lift up my arm and I'm like, oh. What I'm trying to say is, if you like that whiff of a man's under armpit situation, that manly kind of, oh, then definitely treat yourself to a men's deodorant and you too can smell like a man's armpit. I don't know, it seemed like it made sense, but now I'm just wondering, what are you doing with your life, Anwen? Okay, so that brings me to the end of this favourites video. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I kind of got out of the swing of doing monthly favourites because a lot of the time I would just be kind of, I don't know, I just found that I felt like it was a chore to have to like find things. Oh, what should I talk about this month? Well, there's so many things, so I've got to whittle it down, and I don't know, I just got out of the habit of it. But I really liked all of these products, so I just figured, well, I'm going to do a feckin' favourites and rave about them all. But I hope that you're having a fabulous week so far. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I will be back soon with more.